Okay, this is a reaction video. This is another one from Passport 2, the German holiday that doesn't make any sense. Now, I know they have a lot more holidays over in Europe than they do in the United States. The United States have maybe 9 or 10. But I'm kind of curious about this one. Which German holiday they have doesn't make any sense? Please click like, share, and subscribe for them. Please click like, share, and subscribe for them. And please click like, share, and subscribe for me as well.
Throughout the
Now, they say it doesn't make any sense. Does it make any sense to an American, or does it make it, well, I'll find out.
entire parade, though, we really didn't see any rhyme or reason to things that were happening or going on. I also felt like that was kind of the fun of it. It really seemed like a lot of it was just people cutting loose for a day and just having fun and just going out there and being kind of wild and wacky. It's just something that they don't normally get to do in their every single day.
Trying to think what this looks like, because you don't really see a whole lot of parades like this in the United States where people dress up like this. Kind of looks like a medieval kind of thing, like from the Dark Age, well, the Dark Ages, but the Middle Ages. That's what it looks to me like what they're dressed as. Again, this is Passport 2.
Something that we've learned about Germany is that its traditions and holidays vary greatly region by region, even city to city. Last week, there was a big holiday in Germany called Fasching. It's called Fasching.
Okay, there are 3 different words in German for carnival or Mardi Gras. So it's just kind of like Mardi Gras, okay.
In Austria and Bavaria and Berlin, but then in the Rhineland area, it's called Carnival, and then in Swiss German areas, it's called Fastnacht. Here in our area, we've mostly heard it called Fasching, but then we've also seen some signs that have Fastnacht on them. And for example, our parade here in our town was called the Fastnacht Umzug. We've heard that the biggest celebrations are in Cologne and Mainz, but
I've been to Cologne, and there's a big cathedral there too.
we've also heard that some regions of Germany don't even celebrate at all. It seems like it's mostly the Catholic regions of Germany that celebrate Carnival or Fasching or Fastnacht.
Honestly, keeping track of each region's verbiage, specifically what each name means, their different traditions, can get really complex for us from the outside, trying to look in and observe the different traditions and holidays. But the actual holiday itself is kind of familiar to us because around this time of year, all around the world, people are celebrating a similar holiday. And in the US, you can find Mardi Gras celebrated all across the United States.
You don't see a whole lot of Mardi Gras celebrated all across the United States, though. Mardi Gras is generally just celebrated down in New Orleans. Okay, I'm sure there are people who may have get-togethers or things with Mardi Gras around the United States. It's possible, but I don't recall a situation where a bunch of different cities all celebrate Mardi Gras.
It is a lot more concentrated in Louisiana and specifically in New Orleans where the biggest parties happen. And I was part of a student organization in college in which we went down and marched in the biggest parade in New Orleans for Mardi Gras. So I'm kind of familiar with the traditions and culture surrounding this holiday. So coming here and observing Fasching really wasn't too unfamiliar to us. So the meaning behind the holiday being sort of a huge celebration leading up to Lent, which then also leads up to Easter, is the same between the U.S. celebrations and Faschings here. But we've also found that there are more regional celebrations in Germany, which purpose is to drive out the wind.
And there are some regional celebrations in the United States as well, but not nothing like what I just saw with everybody dressed up like the way they were.
Winter demons and evil spirits as spring approaches.
We just recently visited Ulm and Esslingen. These are both cities that are in southwest Germany. And in the city center of both of these cities, there were these tall poles that had a tree at the top with crests all up and down the sides. It looked a lot like a Maibomb or a...
And the title of this is the German holiday that doesn't make any sense. But I guess you should probably, it doesn't make sense to people from the United States. I guess it probably makes a lot more sense to people in Germany.
May tree that comes in May, but we asked you all from this region to explain to us what this pole is, and you told us that it is a Narenbaum, or a fool's tree, and it represents fools coming out and taking over the city in order to drive away the evil spirits. Another interesting thing that we read about Narenbaums is that they will hang presents from the wreath that's on the pole, and children have to climb up the pole in order to take the presents down from the wreath.
That's different. I like that. I was Mickey Mouse, but I didn't know Mickey Mouse was German. But okay, I think it's Mickey Mouse. I'm looking at it from the side.
Everything that we read online about the official kickoff of Fasching and Carnival is that it actually takes place on November 11th at 11:11.
Okay, right now where I'm at, it's November the 5th, and tomorrow, November 6th, is my mom and my brother-in-law's birthday. So if that's what is 11:11 a.m. or p.m., well, I guess it really doesn't matter. That would mean that Friday, this coming Friday at 11:11 is the start of the holiday.
We didn't really notice anything going on in our village whenever that time came around, but the big kickoff that was really visible for us was the Fastnacht Umzug, or the parade that went through our entire village. And it was this huge celebration. There was a lot of build-up and setup for it, and there was a lot of smaller parties and things that we saw posters for, but this was kind of the big culminating event. We did see, though, that the number 11 carried over into this celebration because the parade started at 11 minutes past the hour at 2:11. So as the time was approaching for the huge Umzug, or the parade, I started noticing a lot more people walking around the city streets that were all wearing different costumes. It wasn't just little kids, it was also a lot of adults who were all wearing costumes as they were walking around. It felt a lot like Halloween feels to us. But one big difference that I could kind of tell from the costumes was that Halloween more has kind of a dark and scary element to it.
And these are more light-hearted, I guess we would say light-hearted and more fun type costumes.
A lot of the costumes are surrounding some kind of dark theme. Here, it was a lot more lighthearted and fun. So we saw a lot of costumes of people like elephants or astronauts, Alice in Wonderland characters, clowns. There's a lot of fun things like that. And then also our big old rat house downtown was completely decorated with a lot of fun, beautiful colors, balloons, streamers. So it really seemed like a really funny and lighthearted atmosphere that was building leading up to the actual parade.
Okay, so you've got some stormtroopers there. Darth Vader is walking down there as well. So it looks like a good time. It looks like they're throwing things like candies and things like that into the crowd.
From the outside looking in, it didn't seem like the overall parade had a set theme, but the parade was made up of different groups, organizations, and social clubs that each had their own individual theme and costumes. For example, we saw some groups that were cavemen, group that was Mickey Mouse theme, group that was Mario Brothers, Rainbow Cats, all kinds of different themes. And they each had either a float or a car, or they were all walking together. And each group was throwing out candy to the crowd, and kids had their baskets ready to gather up the candy that was thrown. This was kind of similar to at Mardi Gras, they throw beads into the crowd off the floats.
Now, one thing about the throwing beads off from the floats and everything like that, a lot of things about Mardi Gras is the women will lift up their shirts as well to get beads thrown at them.
And so people were ready for all that candy. So the kids all dressed up in their costumes, grabbing candy and putting it in their baskets really reminded us a lot of Halloween. But something else that we had never seen before was that there were some groups that were pouring wine, beers, champagne, and even hard liquors into cups and handing it out to adults in the crowd.
And that's something you won't see in the United States. You get arrested. It doesn't work like that in the United States. I mean, that would be something if you had a parade like that, you'd definitely draw a lot of people there if they were handing out free beer and hard liquor.
Crowd. We even saw some groups pouring Jägermeister and handing out shots to some of the adults. So there was definitely this adult element that we have never seen before in these kinds of parades.
Yeah, that's different. Parades are usually meant for kids in the United States. Now, you got Memorial Day parades and things like that. and those are, you bring the whole family down there, but you don't hand out shots or beer or anything like that, or alcoholic beverages.
There were a lot of unique things in this parade that we got to see also that we probably wouldn't see in a U.S. parade. A common staple in a lot of U.S. parades are going to be some type of marching band, whether it be from a high school or some type of military marching band that will provide music. Here they also had marching bands, but they were very different from the ones that we've seen. They looked almost like medieval uniforms. Their drums were a little bit longer and older looking. Ahead of the band was really cool flags and banners that they were carrying representing the band. So that was really neat and different. It kind of added, this element.
That does look like a fun thing to do. If ever in Germany, well, if I ever make it to Germany around November time, that would be fun to do something like that.
That made us really feel like we're really in Europe rather than just at any other parade. During the parade, while we were watching, all of the spectators and the people that were actually in the parade kept yelling back and forth to each other, "Halal," which is just a greeting, just like saying hello, but it's specific to this holiday. But halal isn't the only greeting for the parades. In different regions, they say different things, with halal and alaf being the two most common phrases and greetings during the Faschingskarneval and Fastnacht season. There were also dance teams and cheerleaders that were in this parade, and their uniforms were really unique, but one thing that really stood out for us was all of them wore these wigs. They were all like uniform, kind of like a uniform piece for them. They all had like the braids and the bangs that were all the exact same colors, and it was something that we had never really seen before that was kind of unique. We mentioned that it seems like this holiday is really lighthearted and there's not a lot of scary costumes and stuff. However, there still were some groups and organizations in the parade that did kind of seem to have a darker theme to it. We even saw Krampus come back out and walk through.
Yeah, I mean, they may have a darker theme of these costumes. These was more like Halloween, but it's not like they're going around, making, trying to scare anybody. They're just waving at people
through the streets. Something that we thought was reserved around Christmas time was back out here, and there seemed to be maybe some German fairy tale characters that are a little bit scarier that they were dressed up as that we really aren't aware of. But something that I did think was really interesting for me was that a lot of the little kids, it's not true for every little kid because they're all going to be a little bit different, but a lot of the little kids weren't really scared of these scary characters and these scary masks.
Yeah, it may be something to do, what he said, something to do with a story or first of all, the way they're acting. They're not acting like they're trying to scare you. They're just waving at you. But it may be something to do with a fairy tale that you may be unfamiliar with. It's just not that's part of the German culture that you just don't know. You can put it in the chat, but yeah. So it looks like it's a fun time. It doesn't look like you're scaring anybody.
They would walk up and they were high-fiving Krampus on the street and just enjoying it just like everybody else. Something that is similar that you do see in a lot of U.S.
And again, that's something you don't see in those characters before he continues on. Is characters like that. If they were walking around like that might have a different effect for American kids than it would for Germans.
Parades, especially I think small town parades that we did see in this parade, were these queens that were riding kind of on the back of these convertibles and waving to people and throwing out candy. We really don't know what they're the queens of, but they were beautiful, they had crowns, and they looked like U.S. queens. Throughout the entire parade, though, we really didn't see any rhyme or reason to things that were happening or going on, and that really could be completely just because we didn't understand the holiday or tradition entirely.
I think that's probably more likely, just didn't understand it.
But I also felt like that was kind of the fun of it. It really seemed like a lot of it was just people cutting loose for a day and just having fun and just going out there and being kind of wild and wacky. It's just something that they don't normally get to do in their every single day. And it was really kind of fun, too, seeing Germans that normally have this stereotype of being very serious and dry, just letting loose and just having a lot of fun and just being really goofy.
Yeah, like I said, it looks like it's a good time had by all.
The parade lasted about an hour and a half, but we've heard in some previous years it's lasted up to 4 hours, so guess it varies from year to year. After the parade was over, the streets were covered with confetti and candy and signs of a good old time. And after people started exiting the streets from the parade, the cleanup crew came and, in true German fashion, quickly and efficiently cleaned up the streets, and there was no evidence of the parade afterwards.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. Well, like I said, when I was there for the World Cup in 2006, the efficiency of the Germans was outstanding. It was amazing to watch how fast everything got cleaned up and how nice everything was. I mean, I'm when I let me give you an example. Whenever I would get up in the morning, I would usually get up pretty early in the morning, and I'd go and get the newspaper so I could read them. There was an Irish pub, and people like to use instead of using the facilities, use the stairs. So you walked on the right hand side going up and left going down, because on the other side, well, by 9 o'clock, it seemed like that it was all gone. It cleaned up. Somebody cleaned it and taken care of it, and you saw that all over Germany. So I'm not surprised by it. It's clean.
But the festivities were not over yet. Our city center had a carnival or festival taking place. They had food and rides, and then our community center had a party that people could go to, and everyone attended in their costumes and just continued having a fun time.
So this is just specifically how we saw Fasching being celebrated in our town and in our region, but we want to learn a lot more.
Yeah, like Flushing is not something that we have in the United States, but it looks like it's some. I mean, again, I don't know what the origins of the celebration is, and I guess that's why the videos of the German holiday doesn't make any sense, is because you don't know the history of it, and I'm going to look that up, and if you want to fill it in for me in the comments below, please do. But yeah, that is kind of interesting. It looks like it's a fun time.
From you guys. You've been so good in teaching us. How do you celebrate Fasching, or do you call it Carnival, or do you call it Fastnacht in your region or in your town? What type of traditions do you have that are unique? What do your parades look like? Please leave those in the comments so we can learn a lot more about this country that we're living in. And thanks so much for checking out this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button.
Yeah, that's it. Fasching. I mean, it's an interesting celebration, and it looks like it's a lot of fun. This is Passport 2. Like I said, please click like, share, and subscribe for them, and give them their information. Please help me out as well, because I'm learning a lot about Germany with these videos. So please click like, share, and subscribe for me as well, and you have a good rest of your day, and thanks for watching.